How healthy is food packaging? Have you ever wondered why plastic beverage bottles can carry advice like this? Store in a cool, dry, odorless and clean place without exposure to sunlight. This has to do with the plastic material properties. Plastic is not inert and chemicals from outside the bottle can transfer into the beverage. But the plastic itself can also leach chemicals into the drink. How? Picture this. Plastic contains a cocktail of different synthetic chemicals. Some of them are unknown. For many of these chemicals, there is no toxicological information available. This means we don't know how safe or unhealthy these chemicals actually are. Plastics also contain hormone-disrupting chemicals. Over time, these substances can leach into foods. This chemical transfer will be quicker at higher temperatures and increases with longer storage time. Common plastic water and soft drink bottles are made of polyethylene terephthalate or PET. This plastic often carries the code number 1. In a scientific study using tiny snails, researchers discovered that PET plastic also contains hormone-disrupting chemicals. These are New Zealand mud snails. They are almost half the size of a peanut. When these snails are kept in plastic bottles, they produce significantly more embryos than if they live in glass bottles. This happens because the plastic leaches chemicals and these stimulate embryo growth in the snails. The same effect is also seen with the female sex hormone estrogen. This means that the PET plastic is leaching some kind of estrogen-mimicking chemicals. But are these hormone mimics called endocrine-disrupting chemicals something we should care about? After all, the levels of leaching are known to be very low, and doesn't the dose make the poison? What we know from scientific research today is that endocrine-disrupting chemicals are of concern, even at low doses. These endocrine-disrupting chemicals interfere with the highly complex cell and tissue communication that is normally controlled by hormones. Hormonal control, for example, tells a cell when to switch on a gene and make a protein and when to stop this process again. With 10,000s of genes and proteins to orchestrate, the system clearly relies on intricate control mechanisms. Endocrine-disrupting chemicals can jeopardize the system at lowest concentrations. Many scientists are especially concerned about endocrine-disrupting chemicals interfering with healthy child development. During pregnancy and childhood, the pillars of life are constructed: our cells, tissues, and organs, how our body metabolizes food, stores energy, and deals with toxic chemicals. All of this depends on hormonal control and can be affected by endocrine-disrupting chemicals. If this happens, children can develop chronic diseases like cancer or obesity when they grow up. For this reason, endocrine-disrupting chemicals are receiving increased scrutiny. Bisphenol A, phthalates, and others are being studied in detail. They're in everyday consumer products like plastic baby bottles, water bottles, cups, storage containers, drink cartons, and in the liners of food and beverage cans. Scientists have shown in several independent studies that the endocrine-disrupting chemical bisphenol A, also known as BPA, can mimic natural hormones and causes harm in animal experiments. People are also exposed to BPA, phthalates, and other endocrine-disrupting chemicals when they leach from plastic into food. For example, when a baby bottle or plastic packaged food is being heated in the microwave oven. In adults, higher levels of BPA have been linked to cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and infertility. Studies show that 93% of Americans have detectable levels of this chemical in their bodies. For consumers, it is not straightforward to understand if food packaging contains bisphenol A or other endocrine-disrupting chemicals. Government agencies have previously maintained that BPA is safe for use in food packaging. Yet in January 2010, the US Food and Drug Administration issued a statement saying that recent studies provide reason for some concern about the potential effects of BPA on the brain, behavior, and prostate gland of fetuses, infants, and children. The agency is currently reviewing its position on the safety of BPA for the general population. Until they have sorted out the science, you can reduce your personal exposure to endocrine disruptors by choosing alternative packaging. Ceramics, glass, and stainless steel are materials made without synthetic chemicals.